Chapter 11: A Lesson in Science. Matilda O'Donnell McEnroy, personal note. The transcript of this interview is verbatim. There is nothing more I can add to it. It says everything. Official transcript of interview. Top secret. Official transcript of the U.S. Army, Air Force, Roswell Army Airfield, 59th Bob Group. Subject: alien interview. 29/7/1947. First session. Today, Air told me about some very technical things. I took a few notes to remind myself, so I can repeat what she said as closely as possible. She began with an analogy about scientific knowledge. Can you imagine how much progress could have been made on Earth if people like Johannes Gutenberg, footnote 212, Sir Isaac Newton, Benjamin Franklin, George Washington Carver, footnote 2013, Nikola Tesla, Jonas Salk, footnote 214, and Richard Trevithick, footnote 215, and many thousands of similar geniuses and inventors were living today, image what technical accomplishments might have been developed if men like this never died. What if they were never given amnesia and made to forget everything they knew? What if they continue to learn and work forever? What level of technology and civilization could be attained if immortal spirited beings like this were allowed to continue to create in the same place and at the same time for billions or trillions of years? Essentially, the domain is one civilization that was existed for trillions of years with relatively uninterrupted progress. Knowledge has been accumulated, refined and improved upon in nearly every field of study imaginable and beyond imagining. Originally, the interaction of SB illusions or inventions create a very fabric of the physical universe. The microcosm and the macrocosm, every single particle of the universe, has been imagined and brought into existence by an SB. Everything created from an idea, a thought with no weight or size or location in space. Every speck of dust in space, from the size of the tiniest subatomic particle, from the size of a sun or a Magellanic cloud, the size of many galaxies, was created from the nucleus of a thought. Even the tiniest individual cells were contrived and coordinated to enable a microbial entity to sense, navigate through infinitesimally small spaces. This also came from an idea thought up by an SB. You and every SB on Earth have participated in the creation of this universe. Even though you are now confined to a fragile body made of flesh, you live for only 65 short rotations of your planet around a star. You have been given overwhelming electric shock treatments to wipe out your memory. You must learn everything all over again each lifetime. In spite of all these circumstances, you are who you are and will always be. And deep down, you still know that you are and what you know. You are still the essence of you. How else can one understand the child prodigy, an SB who plays concertos on a piano at 3 years of age without formal training? Impossible if they did not simply remember what they have already learned from thousands of lives spent in front on a keyboard in times untold or a planet far away. They may not know how they know, they just know. Humankind has developed more technology in that past 100 years than in the previous 200 years. Why? The answer is simple. The influence of the old empire over the mind and over the affairs of mankind has been diminished by the domain. A renaissance, footnote 260, on invention on Earth began in 4250 AD with the destruction of the old Empire space fleet in the solar system. During the next 500 years, Earth may have the potential to regain autonomy and independence, but only to the degree that humankind can apply the concentrated genius of their bees on Earth to solve their amnesia problem. However, on a cautionary note, the inventive potential of the bees who have been exiled to this planet is severely compromised by the criminal elements of the Earth's population, specifically politicians, women girls, and irresponsible physicists who create unlimited weapons such as nuclear bombs, chemicals, diseases, and social chaos. These have the potential to extinguish all life forms on Earth forever. Even their relatively small explosions that were tested and used in the past 2 years on Earth have the potential to destroy all of life if deployed in sufficient quantities. Large weapons could consume all of the oxygen in the global atmosphere in a single explosion. Footnote 217. Therefore, the most fundamental problems that must solve in order to ensure that Earth will not be destroyed by technology are social and humanitarian problems. The greatest scientific minds of Earth, in spite of mathematical or mechanical genius, have never addressed these problems. Therefore, do not look to scientists to save Earth or the future of humanity. Any so-kind science that is solely based on the paradigm footnote 218 that existence is composed only of energy and object moving through space is not a science. Such beings utterly ignore the created spark originated by an individual SB and collective work of the SBs who continually create the physical universe and all universes. Every science will remain relatively ineffective or destructive to the degree that it omits or develops the relative importance of the spiritual spark that ignites all of creation and life. Unfortunately, this ignorance has been very carefully and forcefully instilled in human beings by the old empire to ensure that its beings on this planet will not be able to recover their innate ability to create space, energy, matter, and time, or any other component part of universes. As long as awareness of the immortal, powerful, spiritual self is ignored, humanity will remain imprisoned until the day of its own self-destruction and oblivion. Do not rely on the dogma of physical scientists to master the fundamental forces of creation any more than you will trust the enchanted incantation of an incense-burning shaman. The net result of both of these is entrapment and oblivion. Scientists pretend to observe, but they only suppose that they see and call it fact. Like the blind man, a scientist cannot learn to see until he realizes that he is blind. The facts of earth science do not include the source of creation. They include only the result or byproducts of creation. The facts of science do not include any memory on the nearly infinite past experience of existence. The essence of creation and existence cannot be found through the lens of a microscope or telescope or by any other measurement of the physical universe. One cannot comprehend the perfume of a flower or the pain felt by an abandoned lover with meters and calipers. Everything you will ever know about the creative force and ability of a god can be found within you, an immortal spiritual being. How can blind men teach others to see a nearly infinite gradients that comprise the spectrum of light? The notion that one can understand the universe without understanding the nature of an being is an absurd. As concede that an artist is a speck of paint on his own canvas, or that the lace on a ballet shoe is the choreographer's vision of the grace of a dancer, of the electric excitement of opening night. Study of the spirit have been booby-trapped by the thought control operation through religion's superstitions they instill in the minds of men. Conversely, the study of the spirit and the mind have been prohibited by science which eliminates anything that is not measurable in the physical universe. Science is the religion of matter. It worships matter. The paradigm of science is that creation is all, and the creator is nothing. Religion says the creator is all, and the creation is nothing. These two extremes are the bars of a prison cell. They prevent observation of all phenomena as an interactive whole. Study of creation without knowing the is being, the source of creation, is futile. While you sail to the edge of a universe conceived by science, you fall off the end into abyss of dark, dispassionate space and lifeless, unrelating force. On earth you have been convinced that the oceans of the mind and spirit are filled with gruesome, ghoulish monsters that will eat you alive if you dare to venture beyond the breakwater of superstition. The vast interest of the old empire prison system is to prevent you from looking at your own soul. They fear that you will see in your own memory the slave masters who keep you imprisoned. The prison is made of shadows in your mind. The shadows are made of lies and pain and loss and fear. The true genesis of civilization are those Isbis who will enable other Isbis to recover their memory and weaken self-realization and self-determination. This issue is not solved through enforcing more regulation on behavior or through the control of beings through mystery, faith, drugs, guns, or any other dogma of a slave society, and certainly not through the use of electric shock and hypnotic commands. The survivor of Earth and ever being on it depends on the ability to recover the memory and skills you have acquired to the linear to recover the essence of yourself. Such an art, science, or technology has never been conceived in the old empire. Otherwise, they would not have resorted to the solution that brought you to your current condition on Earth. Neither has such technology ever have been developed by the domain. Until recently, the necessity of rehabilitating an SB with amnesia has not been needed. Therefore, no one has ever worked on solving this problem. So far, unfortunately, the domain has no solution to offer. Okay, don't worry, guys. I'm working in this problem. I'm came to Earth and working in this problem. It's everything okay. I'm erase my memory in these screens, ekrans, and now I work in this problem. Okay. We continue. A few officers of the Domain Expeditionary Force have taken it upon themselves to provide technology to Earth during their off-duty time. These officers leave their doll at the space station and, as an SB, assume or take over a biological body on Earth. In some cases, an officer can remain on duty while they inhabit and control other bodies at the same time. This is a very dangerous and adventurous undertaking. It requires a very able SB to accomplish such a mission and return to base successfully. One officer who did this recently, while continuing to attend to his official duties, was known on Earth as the electronic inventor, Nikola Tesla. Footnote 219. It is my intention, alright, it is not part of my mission orders, to assist you in your efforts to advance scientific and humanitarian progress on Earth. My intention to help others is being to help themselves. In order to solve the amnesia problem on Earth, you will need much more advanced technology, as well as social stability, to allow enough time to research and development of techniques to free the SB from the body and to free the mind of the SB from amnesia. Here I say, it is my intention to help you in Earth. It is my intention, and I go to Earth to help people and translate this information in many language. I learn many language. I practice in astral. I make technologies that can be help people on Earth remember who they are. Okay, we continue. Although the domain has a long-term interest in the maintained Earth as a useful planet, it has no particular interest in the human population of Earth, other than its own personal here. We are interested in preventing destruction, as well as accelerating the development of technologies that will sustain the infrastructure of the global biosphere, hydrosphere, and atmosphere. To this end, you will discover, on very careful and thorough examination, that my spacecraft contains a wide assortment of technology that does not yet exist on Earth. If you distribute pieces of this craft to 20 scientists for study, they will be able to reverse engineer footnote 220 some of the technology in the extent that Earth had the raw materials required to replicate these components. Some features will be indecipherable. Other features cannot be duplicated as Earth doesn't have the natural resources required to replicate them. This is especially true of the metals used to construct the craft. Not only do these metals not exist on Earth, the refining process required to produce these metals took billions of years to develop. It's also true of the navigation system, which requires an S-beam whose own personal wavelength has been specifically attuned to the neural network of the craft. Footnote 221. The pilot of the craft must possess a very high order of energy, volition, discipline, training, and intelligence to manipulate such a craft. Is based on Earth and incapable of this expertise because it requires the use of an artificial body specifically created for this purpose. Certain individual Earth scientists, some whom they among the most brilliant minds in the history of the universe, will have their memory of this technology jogged when they examine their craft components, just as some of the scientists and physicists on Earth have been able to remember how to recreate electric generators, internal combustion and steam locomotion, refrigeration, aircraft, antibiotics, and other tools of your civilization. They will also rediscover other vital technology in my craft. The following are the specific substances embodied in my craft that contain useful components. 1. There is an assortment of microscope wiring or fibers, footnote 222, within the walls of the craft that control such things as communication, information storage, computer function, and automatic navigation. 2. The same wiring is used for light, sublight and ultralight, spectrum detection and vision, footnote 223. 3. The fabrics of the interior of the craft, footnote 224, are far superior to any on Earth at this time and have hundreds of thousands of applications. 4. You will also find mechanism for creating, amplifying and channeling light particles or waves as form of energy. Footnote 225. As an officer, pilot, and engineer of the domain forces, I am not at liberty to discuss or convey the detailed operation or construction of the craft in any way other than what I have just disclosed. However, I am confident that there are many competent engineers on Earth who will develop useful technology with these resources. I am providing these details to you in the hope that the greater good of the domain will be served.